Hello, hello. I'm Angela. I'm an oboe player and a repair technician, and I want to tell you how to disassemble and put away your oboe in a way that will prevent cracking and also prevent problems with bent keys and other issues that can come up. So after I'm done playing my oboe, you want to remove the reed first. So I take the upper joint of the oboe in one hand, and you can go ahead and squeeze on the cork part of your reed and twist it off. Now, if you find that your reed is a little bit stuck and hard to get out, there's a couple of things that you can do. First of all, next time you put your reed into your oboe, you might want to use a little bit of cork grease on the cork so that it is a little bit easier to remove. But in the meantime, you might have some luck if you take a towel in your hand and use that to help you get some grip on the cork. I would be careful about placing your hand over the reed like this because the cane portion is really delicate and you might crush it. So don't do that. Instead, use a towel, help you get some grabbing power on this cork here, and you can squeeze the cork really hard with your fingers through the towel and give it a twist, and it should start to come out. So hopefully you find that tip helpful. I'm gonna make sure that my reed is safe before I continue putting my oboe away. So put your reed away in the box or whatever you have. Next, I'm gonna swab my oboe. I like to swab my oboe while it's still together. If you prefer to swab your oboe after you disassemble the sections, that's okay. My favorite swab is the big purple Luray swab. And the reason why I like this swab so much is that it cannot get stuck in the oboe. So I turn my oboe upside down and put the swab through the bell. Just let it fall in, and it falls, the weight comes out the other end, and I'm just gonna pull that until it's slightly snug. You don't need to pull super hard. Now, there's still some swab sticking out the bell. And this is the reason why I like this swab so much. Swabs that pull all the way through the oboe, I find are the ones that usually get stuck. But since this swab is so big, it only goes in about this far, and the fabric is now touching inside the oboe and absorbing any water that's in there. So pull it back out the same way that it came in. Oop, I'm a little tangled up here. There we go. And carefully pull the swab out. Now that the inside of your oboe is dry, open up your case and twist the top joint off of your oboe. So take your left hand and you want to grasp the oboe in between this octave key and this cluster of keys and this sticking out one here. So right in between there. And it's okay if you press down on these keys. On the lower joint, grasp the oboe so that you're pressing down on the low keys here. Make sure that you don't touch or press down on this cluster of these three keys, because if you're going to do that like this, you're going to press down on those keys, and over time they can become bent. Next thing you know, these keys don't work and you have to visit the repair shop to have them fixed. Another thing you should avoid is pressing down on these keys, because these keys connect to the bridge. Here is one bridge, here is another bridge, and here is the third bridge. And if you activate all of those bridge keys while you're disassembling your oboe, you can cause the little key bumper corks to become torn. Or, even worse, your hand might be a little bit on top of this cluster of these 3 keys that I just told you about. So definitely just grasp your oboe in the right hand, pressing down on these keys here. It's okay, it won't hurt the oboe. And use a twisting action to gently twist the joints apart. For now, set aside your upper joint in the case. To remove the bell, now you can have the oboe on your left palm, right underneath the thumb rest. It's okay if you press these down. Just don't press these. Press the bell key if your oboe has one, and twist to remove the bell. Set those joints aside for now. You're almost done. The very last thing is a little bit of crack prevention, especially if you have a wood oboe, or even if you have a plastic oboe. One problem that can start happening is as you play your oboe, you can get a lot of water trapped in the very small holes at the top of the oboe, and you can get gurgling sounds, or in the case of these octave keys, you press the octave key, but it seems like it doesn't work because water gets trapped in there. So that's why I have in my oboe case all of these little pieces of paper towel. Some people use cigarette paper, that works too. I like little cut up pieces of paper towel. So grab a little piece of paper or whatever and place it, press the octave key down and just place the paper under the key. Use your left hand to press down the keys as if you were to play the oboe. 1, 2, 3. And use your right hand to plug the bottom of the oboe. Now you're going to blow air into the top here and force air to come out of right here. So as you're blowing air into the top, you press the key like up and down like that, forcing air to come out, and water will sometimes come with it. And it sounds like this. You want to repeat that procedure. Press the key, release the paper, and do the thumb octave key. So press the key, place paper underneath, put your fingers on the oboe as if you were going to play 1, 2, 3. Plug the bottom with your other hand. Blow air into the top while pressing that thumb key like that. So you'd be blowing air into the top, forcing air to come out, and the water will usually get on the paper. You also want to do, if your oboe has a third octave key, you want to do the third octave key. A lot of times water gets stuck in there, and that's what causes cracking in the third octave tone hole. So this is a common area where oboes can get cracked because water gets in there and we don't realize it, because we sometimes will go a long time without using this key. When you press your third octave key, it doesn't press very much, and you might not be able to get paper underneath there, but it's okay. You can just, again, place your fingers on the oboe as if to play, press, press, press. Plug the bottom and press that third octave key while blowing air into the reed socket. The last one that I always do to prevent cracking is the trill keys. When you swab your oboe, the swab doesn't get the water that's trapped inside the tone holes. So all we're doing in this whole procedure is just forcing the water to come out. So 1, 2, 3. Plug the bottom with your finger, and as you blow air into the top of the reed socket, you're just going to use your thumb to press those trill keys. And it sounds like that. And a lot of times you'd be surprised, you think there's no water in there, but when you go and do this, all of a sudden your paper has got water on it. If you have problems with water coming out of any other tone holes, you can do those as well. Commonly, I have to do this one on my oboe, the A flat. It's also really common to have to do B flat and C, which is a little bit more tricky. So if you have water always coming out of the C, you want to open the C by pressing your bridge key down. And it opens your little B flat and C. Put the paper under there. And it starts out the same. Press, press, press. Cover the bottom. And as you're blowing, you're going to hold this down, your bridge key. Hold it down and keep it there. And as you're blowing the air, you're going to lift your second and third finger. Forcing the air to come out of here. And the water will be on your paper. Clearing the water out of your oboe, even if you think there is none there, sometimes you'd be surprised. You'll find that water will come out. It prevents cracking, because a lot of times cracking is water damage from water sitting in tone holes while your oboe is in the case. So definitely do that. The other really important rule that I have is if I close my case, I zip or latch immediately. What happens is if you shut your case and you don't zip it immediately, and then you walk away and do something else, and then in a couple minutes you go to pick up your oboe and the case is open and the pieces fall out and they can get damaged that way. So as soon as you shut your case, clip the latches or do the zipper, whatever your case has. So that is how I like to take care of my oboe after I'm done playing.